Good morning, friends. I feel fantastic today. The sun lamp has been sunning. In case you're wondering, I realized that I didn't even introduce y'all to the sun lamp, but a sun lamp is fantastic if you live somewhere like where I live. The sun doesn't come out till like 7:30, 7:40. So if I'm up at 5 a.m., that's 2 hours of no sunlight that I'm getting, and it's increasing the chemicals in my body that make me sleepy. Well, I mean, I'm saying me, but it's like, it's for you too. It's happening to you too. I think it's something like adenosine or something. So when you have sunlight, you feel more awake and more alive and more alert. It pushes away this chemical that makes you sleepy. I also think like caffeine has something to do with this chemical as well. Like if you drink caffeine at the wrong time, it will increase this chemical and make you sleepy. So if you've ever had a situation where you drank coffee and then you're still tired, chances are this chemical is probably built up too much in your system, and like the only way to reset it is to go to sleep. So the sun lamp helps get you sunlight without when you don't have the sunlight. So waking up with this the first thing in the morning, just reading and stuff, and journaling with this on and it facing me, and like not having any glasses on or anything like that is super duper helpful. So this one is called Miracle. It's just a standard sun lamp. Honestly, the days that I use it, I feel great. I don't know if that's causation or correlation though. I have to figure out a way to isolate that for the experiment, just because it's like, do you feel good and then you turn the sun lamp on, or do you turn the sun lamp on to feel good? Which one is that there? I don't know. We'll figure it out. However, 75 hard challenge, falling in love with my life again. And let me just say, the skin is skinning, okay? The skin is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And I'm super duper excited because, man, for a minute there, it was just breakout after breakout after breakout. Watching these videos, I'm saying, oh, you're touching your face so much. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. And then every time I would get a blemish, I'd get stressed out. Let's say I'm stressing about something, because that's my stress move that I've recognized, is when I get stressed out, I'm like touching my face. I will also like pop any like blemishes that are coming up from me touching my face, which was creating these dark marks. But for the first time, I think we actually have a skincare routine. Your girl has a skincare routine that we are pulling off and executing on, and we are seeing the results happen live right in front of you. And it feels good. So that's a win that we're starting the week off with. We have already journaled, which I don't know. I don't even know if I want to call this one journaling, just because I feel like I'm cheating. To go from an A4 journal to A5. Let's just say it was taking me 17 minutes to finish the A4. It's probably taking me like 7 to 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes maximum to finish 3 morning pages here. Look at sweet pickle baby Nye. She's so cute. Look at her. She's so cute. But it is cool. It's cool to be using something that you created, and it's giving me ideas for the next iteration of my journal. The one that's coming, I can't wait to show you guys. Journaling is journaling. We got the job done. Additionally, we have already started our water. We're half a container in, and we've only been awake for like an hour and a half. Fantastic. I see us on track for that. We've already done our reading, and I loved this reading today. The first aspect of true love is Maitri, the intention and capacity to offer joy and happiness. And I love that, because it's the intention and capacity to offer joy and happiness. And I feel like so many of us all the time are looking internally, what can I get? What can I get? What can I get? That we're not recognizing, do we even have the intention and or the capacity to offer joy and happiness? So it teaches us how to do this. Yes, quick wardrobe change. We had to get ready for the gym. And also I'm going to read you this excerpt. The first aspect of true love is Maitri, the intention and capacity to offer joy and happiness. To develop that capacity, we have to practice looking and listening deeply so that we know what to do and what not to do to make others happy. If you offer your beloved something she does not need, that is not Maitri. You have to see her real situation, or what you offer might bring her unhappiness. In Southeast Asia, many people are extremely fond of a large thorny fruit called a durian. You could even say that some are addicted to it. Its smell is extremely strong, and when some people finish eating this fruit, they put the skin under their bed so they can continue to smell it. To me, the smell of durian is horrible. One day, when I was practicing chanting in my temple in Vietnam, there was a durian on the altar that had been offered to the Buddha. I was trying to recite the Lotus Sutra using a wooden drum and a large bowl-shaped bell for accompaniment, but I could not concentrate at all. I finally carried the bell to the altar and turned it upside down to imprison the durian so I could chant the sutra. After I finished, I bowed to the Buddha and liberated the durian. If you were to say to me, Faye, I love you so much, I would like you to eat some of this durian, I would suffer. You love me, you want me to be happy, but you force me to eat durian. That is an example of love without understanding. Your intention is good, but you do not have the correct understanding. Without understanding, your love is not true love. You must look deeply in order to see and understand the needs, aspirations, and sufferings of the one you love. We all need love. Love brings us joy and well-being. It is natural as the air. We are loved by the air. We need fresh air to be happy and well. We are loved by the trees. We need trees to be healthy. In order to be loved, we have to love, which means we have to understand. For our love to continue, we have to take the appropriate action or non-action to protect the air, trees, and our beloved. And I thought that was very interesting because, as the world has woken up in the last few years and started taking a deep dive into who they are, I would say the last few years has kind of brought about an awakening in people where we are asking ourselves questions more, or at least I'd like to believe that. I feel like there's been a shift, there's been an awakening. And I know one of the things that has been circulating around are the 5 love languages, which has been debunked, but I would often hear people say things like, my love language is gift giving. And that would always throw me off because how can your love language be to give someone else a gift? And it seems very self-centered for the simple fact that what if that person's love language is not gift receiving? Then you're saying, hey, my love language, the way that I'm going to love you is by giving you gifts, and you're not paying attention to the opposite person. I think it's important if you are going to align yourself with that ideology. I do think that there's some benefit to it, that you understand what your love language is, and then you take the time to understand what the receiving person's love language is so you can meet them where they are and where they want to be met, so that you can make sure that you have the proper love and intention and capacity, and you're not, and this isn't just for the other person. It's not just to make sure that you're loving them correctly, but to also make sure that you're not selling yourself out. So if you say something like, my love language is gift giving, your love language is to give to someone else, I feel like that's just like a recipe for disaster. Your love language should be based upon you and how you enjoy receiving love, not how you give love. I think a lot of times we get wrapped up in thinking that our value and our self-worth is tied to how we give love, and an easy way to just like check against that is to make sure that you're honoring yourself by understanding how you like to be loved and how you want to be understood, and then also taking the time to understand and move with intention in the event that you are trying to love someone in the specific way that they want to be loved and not in the way that you think that they should be loved. So I thought that was very, very interesting because I see us get it backwards so many times. We treat people, and I think this comes from the way that we are raised. We grow up thinking, treat people how you want to be treated. But in actuality, you should probably treat people how they want to be treated. I've run into this many, many times because I'm very stoic and direct. And I find that, that's the most useful. That's the most useful for me. And having to take a step back and recognize that my way of communicating or how I prefer to be communicated with is not the same way for everyone. And it takes meeting someone where they are to truly demonstrate love instead of you pouring down on them what you feel that they should have or how it should be, which I think is what is happening a lot right now in society. I think a lot of us are moving with the entities of with the idea of it should be this way, we should do this. But in actuality, the only thing that we should be doing is taking the time to understand and listen so that we can move with intention and have the capacity to actually give love or to move with love and kindness. So that is all that I've got for you. Next up, we're going to go and get a morning run in, and then we're going to get to work. I'm going to try to hit the Globo gym again today so we have a nice 2 days. I'm looking good. food is prepared and ready to go. It's taken about 30 days for us to like get into this groove, and it feels good. So let's make some stuff happen today, fam. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let the record show that we are done with both workouts. We are done with our reading, our profile picture, and we have meal prepped. So dinner is already ready to go. We're having dinner. It is 6:03. So we got a nice early dinner, and we only have one container of water left. So all those weeks that I was like, this is not ideal. This is ideal. We have arrived. This is the ideal day. This is what we would like to continue. I got sent some protein, some plant-based protein by this company called Birdman. So we're going to add this to the experiments this week. We're going to go ahead and give it a shot, see what it's like. It's 100% plant-based, naturally sourced ingredients. Ooh, and it said the magic words for me. No sugar, no stevia. Now we have to be very careful because usually they say no sugar, and what they mean is like, we're just going to call it something else under a really cute name. But none of that is happening here, which is really nice. You know, I was looking for some of the... People will say no sugar. That's what they'll say. And then you'll go to their ingredients and it'll be like sucralose, anything allose, or stevia, or organic cane sugar. I don't want your sugar, bro. Don't sneak your sugars in my stuff. So this is great. We're going to give this a try. And that's going to take at least 12 ounces of our water out of the situation. We're in it. We're going to test this out with nothing else, though, just so we can get a feel for how it feels in conjunction with our entire life. I love running experiments on my life and being able to isolate how I'm feeling to specific things or ingredients that I've added. So we're going to test this baby out. I'll let you guys know how I'm liking it at the end of the week. And that's almost a wrap. Wow, this feels fantastic. This day is a 10, okay? 100% 10 of 10. We're going to be done with everything by 7 o'clock. Onward. Okay, yeah. So this was the ideal day. This is what we were striving for. So we're going to try to control C, control V as much as possible. I do have an artist date tomorrow, which will add an additional layer of complexity to the mix. But I think the joy of I love experimenting so much because now we're cooking with oil. To be able to just come back, put down this delicious protein, eat my dinner. It was just seamless transition. We were done with everything by 7 o'clock. So control C, control V. I was thinking about this very recently, how I feel like if making changes in your life was positioned as running an experiment on your life, I think a lot more people would be less hesitant or would look at change as this huge thing to overcome. And it's more so just you're fine-tuning the things in your life. And the only way that you know what works for your life is to experiment. Run an experiment. Give yourself 30 days to try something new, especially if you're miserable. I don't think that a lot of people pay attention to the fact that being miserable for an extended amount of time is almost like a matter of life or death. Not necessarily because you would be suicidal, but because a lot of times when you're miserable, you'll put yourself in situations that you wouldn't put yourself in if you were healthy. You will be moving with a lack of fulfillment in your life and find yourself in dangerous situations more often than you should. The type of situation where you're cussing someone out in traffic. And in that at any point in time, someone could escalate past a point where you're ready to escalate. And that's your life. Or you're, hanging out in dangerous places by yourself or stuff like this. When you're miserable for an extended amount of time, it affects your self-worth. And so it's almost a matter of life or death to be able to make changes to your life, to take you out of that space. So I'm very grateful to have a joy of experimenting with my life and have a capability and the time and the space, because, I've been in points in my life where it felt like I had like one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake, and I couldn't think to do anything. So to have the space to think and review and say, okay, hey, this didn't work. Okay, that's all I got for y'all. I'm very grateful, and I feel good today. I'm going to give a solid 10, just perfect marks. The only thing that would have been better is if I had stuck to my time blocks. So that's the experiment that we're going to be running this week. It's making sure to stick to the time that we actually have scheduled on the calendar for specific things. Like I get lost in my email and it just steals way too much of my time. But I'm going to isolate that to about noon and see how that feels and what we can come up with. See if we can avoid falling prey to email and focus on the high priority items and things that we're working on. So that's the experiment that we're running tomorrow, is just isolating our email to a specific time and not venturing outside of that so that we don't get lost, and sticking to the time blocks that are actually laid out on our calendar. That is the goal. I will see you in the next one.